Alright, today we're switching things up, studying for the AZ800 exam. I have a need for labs, so I'm planning on setting up a Hyper-V template. It's for Windows Server. Should be 2025 if I remember which ISO I've downloaded, but we're going to do this in Hyper-V, so let's just go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to do really is start a new virtual machine or create a new virtual machine. And I'm going to store it, let's call it server template. So what's nice about the template is then we can use this for basically if we want to create VMs in the future, then we can not have to reinstall Windows every time. I know there's other ways to do a similar thing, but we're doing it through a template right now. So I'm kind of cruising through these, but I like to use dynamic RAM in a lab so that it is able to not constantly use the maximum amount of RAM. I'm going to use one of my virtual switches that I've created. If you don't know how to use a virtual switch, those sorts of things, it's out of the scope of this video. I'm changing the size of the VHD file, the main disk. Boy, my Windows is just going crazy over here. You can't see it, but it's popping up all kinds of stuff. So I'm storing it in the same place for simplicity. It's S drive here. And we're going to just call it server template. Again, I'm cruising through here. I'm going to, on this screen, choose a ISO file. So I'm going ahead and doing that. And I believe this is the 2025 ISO. So I'm going to hit finish. I'm going to get this cranking here, and then we'll go ahead and start it on up. So I'm going to connect. Probably should have connected first because it does this and then you miss it. And too late, but I just rebooted, so now we're going to let it load. So I don't know if I'm going to fast forward through this part or not, but I'm going to actually close my door here because there's a lot of noise in the background. I don't know if you can hear that. I do apologize for my squeaky chair. It tends to squeak and there's not a lot I can do about it. I tried to WD-40 that thing and it helped a little bit, but not a lot. So we're going to install Windows Server and hit next. You know, you can, like I said, there's ways to automate this install. I'm going to do the desktop experience here. If we did the standard there, it would install Server Core, which isn't bad, but I want desktop experience. We could do Data Center too. We're just doing evaluation for now, but I'm just going to go standard. And this is going to get cranking. And we're going to do licensing terms. While that's going, I suppose we can either fast forward it or we can chat about some other stuff. Alright, so we got our disk. I'm just going to hit next. It will create the partitions and get going on the install. I'm not going to keep anything, and there we go. I'm just going to do, I don't know, finish. Nope, they want a password. Well, I don't want to give it a password. I don't even know. We're just going to use password 1 exclamation is what we'll do. Oh, let me retype that. Just kind of goes to show you, it doesn't really consider that a bad password, but it's not really checking for a word list of common passwords, which I would think Microsoft, it makes sense for them to try that, or not try that, but to do that, but it is Microsoft after all. So, looks like we're loading up here, almost ready to do the export. Do we want to send diagnostic data? Not really, but we'll do it because I just don't care. So, alright, yeah, so now we got our server. I'm going to install updates. So what we'll do is I am going to come on back here in a bit and we'll go on to the next step. Alright, we're back. Done with the updates, as you can see down here. I did Recall that the virtual machine was created with 16 virtual CPUs, which is more than I really need or want on there. So I'm actually going to go in and turn that down. We'll just drop it down to 4. As far as I understand with Hyper-V, they're actually it doesn't necessarily reserve all those cores. As far as I understand, those are the number of threads it can use. Now I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that, but so it doesn't exactly like lock itself to a core or something, so it's a little more flexible seemingly than VMware. Again, I can be totally wrong, so don't quote me. But alright, so now we got our VM is created, it's updated, it's off. I set what I wanted on there, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit export, and I'm going to browse and go to the data drive. And wait a minute, I see what I did wrong. So this is actually where I put the VM. I kind of did it wrong, or at least not how I intended to do it. I actually should have probably put that under the VM folder, because really what I want to do is export it. And so that's what I'm doing here. You can see that it's exporting, and that's really all there is to it. I personally will probably delete this myself. I'm going to just delete it. And then I'm actually going to delete this other template so there's no confusion. Oh, there we go. So now when I fire it up, we've got ourselves a new VM. So the nice thing about that is anytime I want to create a new one, I can fire it up. Yeah, the only thing about it is it's going to have the same server name. I haven't really checked into like sysprepping a server, so that might be something you want to do. But this will do it. This will work. Whether it's the definitive best way to do it, I can't say that, but it will work. It will function. You can certainly choose to rename your server. This is kind of it. So I guess we can end the video there. I really wanted to just check and see what the host name shows as. So whatever random name. So you're probably going to want to rename it anyway, because I doubt you're going to want your server to be that random thing. So that's really all there is to it. I personally have some labs I would like to do, so I'm going to start spinning up some more for myself. But other than that, I guess we'll call the video here. We'll end it there.